Hi and welcome to a new video on my channel. Today we're making the Flexicon fidget toy. I know I had a lot of requests for this pattern to publish in video format, so this one is for all of the people who have requested this video. I hope you enjoy it. If you don't know what this is my amigurumi fidget toy that I created for last winter for an event. It was a lot of work. I made a lot of mistakes while coming up with this pattern. You can see the video from last year with all the different failed attempts at making this. So it wasn't easy to come up with, but it's very easy to make once you have the pattern. If you want to, you can get the PDF pattern, which comes with UK and US terms. So if you use UK terms, you can follow along with the written pattern. You have links in the description to all the places where you can get the PDF. I tried to make it very accessible price-wise so that anyone can afford to get it. If you cannot afford to buy it, of course, you still have the video tutorial and you can share this if you want to support me in making more videos from my patterns. To make this pattern, you will need some chenille yarn. This is theoretically size 6 or super bulky, but in reality it's much thinner than super bulky yarn. And you will need about 30 grams or 40 meters of this kind of yarn. This is Himalaya Dolphin Baby, but there are many other velvet yarns like this. Some stuffing, not as much as I have here. We will use it as we work up the toy. 4mm hook, a pair of scissors, a tapestry needle that works with the yarn, and one stitch marker. So let's get started. We begin with a slip knot on the hook, so we make a loop, pick up a loop here inside, put it on the hook, and chain 9. We skip the last chain we made and we put single crochet stitches in the front loops of the next 8 chains. At the end of the row, we don't turn. We continue working around the other side of the chain using the back loops. Also 8 stitches. Make sure that you have only 8, not 9. And that's the first row finished. We just continue working in a spiral as if to make amigurumi. So insert the hook into the first stitch on the previous row and make a single crochet stitch. Mark this with the stitch marker. And continue working around 15 more stitches. We make 4 more rows like this with 16 single crochet stitches, and we mark the first stitch. After the first 2 rows, you don't really have to count. You have to make sure in the first 2 rows that you have the proper number of stitches. You can count on the piece how many rows you have. So if you have 4 here, now you need 2 more. When you have 6 rows here, you can count them like this. Now you can take out the stitch marker and make 6 stitches. Now you need to add a little bit of filling, not much, you don't need much. Something like this to the first pyramid. You don't want to stuff it, just to keep its shape. And then you close it up by putting 8 stitches, 1 in each 2 of the stitches on this row. So we start with the next stitch and insert the hook into the stitch we just worked. I hope you can see this. You insert the hook into the last stitch on the previous row. And draw up a loop tightly, and then finish the single crochet stitch. If it's too loose at the top, you have to make sure from the beginning that it's not loose. So again, insert the hook into the first and the last stitch on the previous row, draw up a loop, and finish the single crochet stitch, and then work like this across. So insert into the next 2 stitches, make a single crochet stitch next, and so on until you have 8 stitches. This is the first pyramid finished, and we continue working all around. We chain 1, and then now we will work 8 single crochet stitches into the front loops of these stitches. And we turn and make 8 single crochet stitches into the back loops. If you want to change colors on another piece, you should do it before you started this row. So you should do it on this row. At the beginning of this row, you start with a new color. Then we continue like before, making 16 stitches all around for 5 more rows. And you can use the stitch marker to mark the beginning of the row that you're working on so that you don't have to count. When you have the 6 rows, you can count them again. You take out the stitch marker and make 6 more stitches. Add a little bit of stuffing. And seam it up. First and last stitch. It takes a little bit of practice to get right. And the second pyramid is finished. Then you chain 1 and start again with 8 single crochet stitches on this side in the front loops, and then 8 in the back loops, and then again 5 rows of single crochet stitches until we have 4 more pyramids. So you need to have 6 in total. I will meet you again after I make 4 more of these pyramids. When you're finished with the 4 extra pyramids, you should have something like this. And you should finish the last one off, okay? Then you cut off the yarn, leaving a tail that you will use to sew up the ends. And you pull this end through the last stitch without making a slip stitch. Then you take the tail and the tapestry needle and start to put this together. You want to have this shape. You have 3 diamonds here. And if you do this, you will have 3 diamonds here. So you will be sewing up these 2 ends. To sew it up, you first have to look at the edge here to find the first stitch. I like to make this seam like this, go into the last row here, like this. And then on the other side, the same. In the first stitch, between the first and the second stitches. Now on the first, on this side, between the second and third, and the same on the other side. This way you have a very secure and clean edge here. You can go back and forth again. You can make different kinds of stitches, but I find that this creates a very nice seam here. And then you weave in the end, going back through the seam. And then back again, and you cut off the excess and get any of these tiny bits of fluff. And here's the finished toy. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends who would like to make this kind of fidget toys for their loved ones or for hospitals or for anyone really. Anyone can enjoy a fidget toy, especially if it's this soft. If you want to make it in multiple colors, make sure that you have the same type of chenille yarn for the different colors, because in this case I used 2 different types and you can see the difference. One is softer than the other and you don't want that. Even in the same brand of yarn, you'll have a color that is softer than another color. And I don't know why, but check it before you use it. And if it's too stiff, you can go up 0.5 millimeters in hook size to make it a bit softer. This one is a bit stiff, this one is a bit softer. If you want to know when I publish more patterns, more videos, please subscribe to my emails. You have a link in the description. And I wish you happy holidays. And I will see you soon again from the new studio. Okay, bye!